Second video. Okay, honey. Um, if a couple of months ago, I did mention this story to you, and I didn't at that time. I don't think I told you that it was over 25 years old. But my first book is Geordian Nights, and you suggested that I change the name because it makes you think of Jordan Knight, the new kid on the block. And I've given that a lot of thought, and I thought, you know, that's most of my target demographic is not going to. They're not even gonna be. They will not have been alive when the new kids in the block were big, so they won't think about that. And then I thought, I don't really have a target age group, age demographic. That's not really my thing. Um, hey, if you can read, you can read my book. I think there'll be a type of person, somebody who's kind of a dork, kind of an outsider, into pseudoscientific family spiritual funny stuff. Because I don't fit in a single genre unless science fiction. Ooh, better lighting when I hold it up here. But I'm gonna stick with the name Geordian Nights because the name of the country that he finds himself in, which I haven't told you his name, but purposefully, because that's my big reveal. The main country is called Jordia, 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 and Nights. I was kind of, when I came up with this, when you're reading this, you can see similarities to a lot of other things, other books, movies. You're like, this sounds like such and such. Just the word Nights. I came from Batman. The Dark Knight. This was before the Dark Knight movie, but the comic book, he was called the Dark Knight. For years, he's been called that, and that's kind of where I count with it. There is a point when they're getting together and they're planning something, and the main character, he mentions how it's not like the Knights of the Round Table, or there's a bit where he compares them to the knights of King Arthur's legend. So it makes sense to keep the word knight. I don't know what else I want to say. I mean, Globic Tales is a big deal. I'm going to put out. I'm almost done handwriting. Oh, I wanted to say a little bit about the writing process. I'm not just straight typing it now because I got in the habit of going back. It took me a long time, I'd open the files and I'd scroll to the bottom and I'd reread like 2 pages and I'd end up writing like a paragraph or something. So that's again why it was taking so long. So a little over a year ago, I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to take spirals. I'm going to handwrite. I got pens. I'm just going to handwrite the book. And then as I type it in, that'll be my first draft. And as I type it up, that'll be my second draft. Now, I'm almost done. I've only got a couple more pages because I've been thinking forward. I've only got a couple more pages to handwrite of my written draft of Geordian Nights. And I'm going to get done with that this week. And by May or June of this year, I'm going to have it all typed up. And I'm going to print out a paper draft. I'm going to have somebody read it. I'm not sure who yet. Read it, and because I can't afford a professional editor. I'm going to, in exchange for edited by line, edited by on the cover, I want a thoughtful reading. I'm going to have somebody read it for spelling, grammar, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound good. So it's not like typical editing, yes. I don't know exactly what all goes in editing. That's what I think about. But so by the end of the summer, I'm going to have a publishable science fiction novel. Um, yeah, the first one in the series. I've got 5 books at least. I'm trying to think. Oh, whatever. I've got like 5 books in my head in the series so far. I mean, it's open, or there could be other things. Um, but I reached an idea a couple weeks ago for a nonfiction book after the first novel. I haven't started writing anything. I'm not going to write anything because I don't need the distraction of writing something else yet. But I have the title, and called Globus Circular, in quotes, Globus Circular, a memoir about the art and discipline of writing and publishing what you love. Because I want to write about the writing process. A lot of what I've said in these 2 videos. But I'm going to put a lot about the writing process and about what I learned on self-publishing, because I've read a lot about self-publishing, but besides I have like 5 books with my name, but they're all nonfiction, just written and printed out. The longest one is like 120 pages or something, and it's they're kind of thrown together. I mean, they're not really sequential. It's a bunch of thoughts, reflections. But so I've done a little bit of self-publishing, but I've never self-published a novel, and I know that it's going to be different. And I'm going to put that in this memoir and write a little bit more about the publishing process, because I think this is my belief, and I put this in other places. Everyone has a story. Personal story, fiction story, they have a story. And I think everybody needs to tell their story. Not all stories need to be books, though. But a lot of them do. And many people who could be putting out books, they don't, because they don't know what goes into it. So I kind of want to demystify it a little bit. The reason why I titled Globus Circular, that's my last point actually. For years, before we were watching movies and stuff in our room, to help Avery sleep, I would tell her stories. And I would talk also just descriptions about the place. And I started Globus Circular because I would tell her about the planet. Like Earth, it's circular. That's what it's saying. And similar masses and blah blah blah. But I started out with Globus Circular. And one morning, or maybe multiple mornings, I don't know how many times that actually happened, I'd say, what do you remember from last night? Because she'd fall asleep when I was talking. She's like, all I could remember you saying was Globus Circular. So it kind of became a joke with us. I don't talk her to sleep anymore, because it got to the point where, because she couldn't sleep, so she would listen to me talk, and I would fall asleep before she would, because she wanted to hear the rest of the story, and I would fall asleep first, and to eliminate their frustrations and stuff with that happening, she's got other techniques to fall asleep. Watching movies, listening to music, stuff like that. So I don't talk her to sleep about Globus Circular, but at Globus Circular is the start of conversation. Many times when we're driving and I have to keep her awake when she's driving, I'll tell her stories. I'll say, remember so-and-so. She's like, and she actually knows a lot of the characters, almost as good as I do, because after a while, characters have personalities. I don't know if you know that, but they do. Oh well, I'm done with this. cartoon.